My girlfriend cheated with my boss. Then they both tried to screw me over at work. I kept quiet, let them dig their own graves. And then, well, let's just say I ended up running the whole damn department. Best karma story you'll ever read. No regrets. Alright, so picture this about 22 years ago. I just torpedoed a 4-year relationship because, surprise, she cheated. Kicked her to the curb and was back on the market, but definitely not looking for anything serious. Just casual dates, keeping it light. My heart wasn't exactly open for business after that last fiasco. Then I met this girl at the packing plant, a receptionist, recently divorced. Cute, and a lot of fun. We started seeing each other, and it was chill for a bit. But then she started hinting at moving in, talking about us long minus term. Every time, this quiet hum in the back of my head would kick in. Something just felt off. I couldn't explain it, but I just couldn't commit. It wasn't about her being a bad person. It was just a gut feeling I couldn't shake. Work got crazy busy around then, and I was volunteering for all the overtime I could grab. Extra cash. You know I worked evenings, and my crew was a small, tight-knit bunch. One night, my buddy Frank just casually drops, "Hey, I saw your boss's car at your girlfriend's apartment building last night." My casual hum turned into a full blown siren. My boss lived a good 30 miles away. This wasn't a coincidence. My mind immediately flashed back to a weekend a while ago. It pulled a ton of overtime. And Shad mentioned going to the casino since I was working. Casino trip now sounded like a convenient cover. The puzzle pieces were falling into place. And not in a good way. My first thought wasn't rage or heartbreak, it was, okay, what's the move here? I wasn't going to stew in speculation. I finished my shift, clicked out, and drove straight to her place. My brain was already running scenarios. Calling would just get me denials. A scene at work is a no-go. This needs to be a direct hit. On my terms. I walked up to her or took a deep breath and knocked firm. After a pause, her voice came through, a little guarded. "Who is it?" "It's me, baby," I said, trying to sound normal. "Just had a few minutes. Thought I'd stop by." I beat. Then the lock clicked. She opened the door, looking surprised, maybe a little flustered. She let me in, but my eyes were already sweeping the place. He wasn't immediately visible, but the apartment felt, too neat, too quiet, a tension I could practically taste. It was like walking into a room after a secret had just been hastily tucked away. I turned to her, keeping my voice steady. "Look, I know what's going on. Just ask him to step out." Another silent moment. Then a door opened from the back, and out walked my boss, head down, looking like a teenager caught sneaking out of a party. This was the same guy I had actually felt bad for, hearing about his own messy divorce. Funny how that works. Right. I looked at them both. No yelling, no accusations. Just a calm, direct question: what's going on? And how long? After some fumbling, he finally mumbled, "About 2 weeks." She just stood there, staring at the floor, totally silent. That was the moment. This isn't about the emotions right now. This is about damage control. This is about making sure my job, my income, my overtime, none of that gets screwed up because of their high school drama. My focus shifted instantly from personal betrayal to pragmatic problem solving. So here I am, fresh off one cheating relationship, now caught in another one, this time with my boss. What do you even say in that situation when your main concern isn't your feelings? But your paycheck and avoiding workplace chaos, have any of you guys ever had to navigate a betrayal like this without blowing up your whole life? I just wanted to handle it like an adult. But man, was that a tricky line to walk. After that whole apartment fiasco, I basically just deleted my ex-girlfriend from my mental hard drive. She tried to apologize, kept trying to catch my eye at work, but it was like she was speaking another language. She'd say stuff like, "Can we talk?" or "I'm so sorry." And I'd just walk right past, or look through her like she was a ghost. No response, no acknowledgement, nothing. To me, she was now just furniture. My focus was purely on the boss. I looked him dead in the eye after he admitted they'd been together for 2 weeks. "Look," I said, "I don't appreciate the high school bullshit. If you wanted a turn, you could have just said something, and we could have been adults about it." He muttered an apology, looking genuinely ashamed, which was a nice bonus. Then I laid down the law. "Here's the deal, I don't care if you to see each other. My only concern is that this doesn't interfere with my overtime. I still want to work as many weekends as I can." He quickly agreed. No problem. That was my win. The only one I needed from that immediate confrontation. My dignity was intact, and my wallet wouldn't suffer. Turns out, my boss had also been dating this cute young girl, maybe 20, who worked at the plant. He was still dealing with his divorce from hell, and apparently, my ex-girlfriend wasn't his only distraction. A few days after my little apartment confrontation, this girl cornered me at work. "Hey," she started. "What's going on between you and him?" She looked genuinely confused and a little hurt. I kept it brief but honest, telling her exactly what I found out. Her face fell. "Man," she said, "it's good you found out now before it got more serious." A pause. Then a mischievous look crossed her face. "You know what we should do? We should go out and piss them off." "Done," I said. My internal calculation was swift. This isn't about deep feelings. This is about leveling the playing field and having some fun in the process. So we did. And let me tell you, that girl was a freak in the best possible way. We had a blast. It was exactly what I needed, a distraction, a rebound, and a little bit of petty revenge all rolled into one. It felt good to laugh again, to feel desired, especially after getting double minus crossed. A few days later, back in the office, my boss was there. A few coworkers too. One of them, completely oblivious, asked me, "Hey, how was your date the other night?" I just grinned. "Oh, it was great. Possibly the best trade I ever made. No regrets." The room got quiet. My boss, who'd been pretending to read something, slowly stood up. Without a word, without looking at anyone, he just walked out. That was the last personal conversation we had for about 2 weeks. The air between us was thick enough to cut with a knife, but professionally, we kept it to business. Then came Friday. We had this thing where we'd sell employee minus discounted product to staff. Employees would pay the receptionist, my ex, get a ticket, and then bring it to us in the back for their food. My boss comes up, looking all casual. "Hey," he says, "I'm gonna take these 10 boxes, 10 pounds each, and they'll pay for them up front on my way out." The exit road went right past the receptionist's office, so I had a clear view. He loaded the boxes into his car, hopped in, and drove right past her office without even slowing down. "Oh, you just didn't." My first thought wasn't anger. It was more like, well, that was stupidly obvious. This wasn't some personal slight, this was stealing from a company. It wasn't about revenge, it was about principle. And frankly, opportunity. I didn't want to confront him directly and make it look like I was just settling a score. This needed to be clean. So here's my dilemma. I just watched my boss The guy who slept with my ex and now won't even talk to me. Steal from the company. How do I report this without making it look like I'm doing it purely out of spite? I mean, it is spite, a little, but it's also about right and wrong. Any of you ever been in a situation where you had to blow the whistle on someone in power? But you had a personal history with them that could complicate things. How do you make sure the facts speak for themselves? So the boss just cruises past the receptionist's office, 10 boxes of company product in his car, never paying a dime. My jaw didn't drop, my brain just went into overdrive. This isn't about him sleeping with my ex anymore. This is straight minus up theft. And it's traceable. My immediate thought wasn't to confront him myself, that would just look like a personal vendetta. No, this needed to be handled by the books. It needed to be undeniable. I walked straight to the phone and called the plant accountant. I explained, very calmly and factually, what I just witnessed: the boss taking 10 boxes, saying HED pay at the receptionist's office, and then driving right past without stopping. I added, he seemed to make the decision on the fly. So I'm thinking he probably didn't in from anyone. Could you check the cash box and the tickets to see if there are any for him? My suspicion, though I didn't voice it, was that my ex-girlfriend might just fill out a ticket later to cover for him if the cash box was short. But if no tickets had been made at all, then it was a clear-cut case. The accountant took it seriously. Within days, word started circulating. Turns out, my hunch was right, no tickets had been made, and the boss had absolutely not paid. The company launched an investigation. He tried to deny it, to explain it away, but the facts were concrete. He got into a hell of a lot of trouble, and before long, he was fired. Just like that. The whole thing felt less like a dramatic showdown and more like watching a poorly executed magic trick finally exposed. With the boss gone, the spotlight naturally shifted. People had always whispered about my ex-girlfriend, the receptionist, and how the cash box seemed to be short sometimes. Now, with the new strictness around accounting, they started scrutinizing her more closely. My initial suspicion that she might be the type to cover for a boss's theft wasn't quite right in this specific instance, but it seemed to have opened a wider can of worms. They couldn't quite put their finger on it, but the numbers weren't adding up consistently. So the company decided to set up a sting. One day, they sent someone in to buy food with a crisp, marked 100 bill. It was a quiet day. There were no other big orders that would have required a 100 bill for change. At the end of the day, when the cash box was counted, that specific 100 bill was missing. Boom. They knew exactly what was happening. It wasn't guesswork anymore, it was cold, hard evidence. Just like the boss, she was confronted with undeniable facts. She was skimming. She, too, was fired. It was wild to see how quickly both of them went from positions of authority to unemployed, all triggered by a chain of events I'd set in motion, mostly just trying to keep my overtime. And here's where it gets really unbelievable with my boss, the superintendent, now out of a job. There was a vacancy. It'd been there for years, knew the plant inside and out, and had just demonstrated a pretty solid grasp of process and accountability. The company recognized it. I got the call. I was offered the position. I replaced my former boss as the superintendent of the department. Think about that for a second. I got rid of a cheating girlfriend, had some ridiculously good times with his ex and got to brag about it right to his face. Exposed and got rid of the same cheating boss, helped get 2 thieves fired, and then landed a promotion, all while making sure my sweet overtime hours were protected the entire time. Honestly, things usually don't work out that well for me. My life isn't normally some perfectly aligned cosmic triumph. But this was priceless. It felt like every single domino fell in exactly the right way, and I just happened to be standing there to nudge the first one. Has anyone else ever had one of those rare, unbelievably satisfying life chapters where everything just came together? Even if it started with total crap, like you accidentally hit the life jackpot and got to clean house in the process, man. Sometimes you just win.